Hi everyone! Easter is quickly approaching and there's nothing more iconic than the lamb cake for Easter. If you want to learn more about how to fill this lamb cake, click the link above and there's a video on how to fill this lamb cake as well as other shaped pans. I'm going to pull all of my equipment together and then I'm going to show you how to decorate this beautiful lamb using a petal tip number 150. So I've gathered everything I need to start decorating. Let me walk through what I have on the table. I've got a lamb cake all cooled and ready to go. I also have some decorator icing. I'm using this to decorate my lamb, but you can use your favorite buttercream or the Wilton buttercream recipe, which you can find online. I also tinted a little bit gray for his ears using some black icing color. And then I have some bags over here. I've got a bag of white decorator icing with a tip number 150. That's going to add all the texture to my lamb. I also have a little bag of brown icing with a tip number 2, and then I have a little bag of pink icing with a tip number 3, and that's going to be for his nose. I also have a few spatulas and some paper towels on hand just in case. I also like to decorate on a turntable. That way you can spin your lamb completely and get all over and add his wool. So the first thing I'm going to do is use a little bit of the white icing and smooth ice his face and put a little gray on his ears. Using a small angled spatula, I'm going to completely cover his face with white icing. You want to make this nice and smooth so you can go back over with your brown and pink and put his eye decorations in and his nose decorations in. You want to make this thick enough so you cannot see the cake through it. So just keep adding until you can no longer see the brown of the cake. The next thing I'm going to do is add gray to his two little ears. Again, using an angled spatula and a small amount of gray buttercream. Just going to spread it over. And you don't have to be super precise with this one because you can cover any imperfections with the ruffle. Now that his ears are done, I'm going to cover the rest of the cake in white icing. This way, so when I do the ruffle, you won't see any of the brown cake through the ruffle. This layer of icing does not have to be perfectly smooth because it'll be completely covered, so you can just kind of go over and make sure majority of the cake is covered. My cake is completely covered in buttercream icing, and my next step is to add the texture. So using a tip 150, which is a petal tip, I'm going to add squiggles and textures all over my lamb. You want to keep the tip up and down, that way you can create the dimension. So just organically go back and forth and create all the little definition on the lamb. One thing to know is that you don't have to do this in one continuous motion. If you need to stop and fix your bag or reposition, that's not a big deal. It just adds more texture and dimension to your cake. Now that my lamb is completely covered in ruffles, I'm going to go back and do the detail work. I'm going to be using the brown icing to do his eyes and mouth and the pink icing to do his nose. Start by drawing a straight line with brown icing. And then you're going to make a smile. From there, I'm going to add his two eyes. And then using the same tip, I'm going to make two little lashes. Lastly, I'm going to add a little pink nose using some pink decorator icing. Yay! My lamb cake is done. He looks super cute. If you'd like to finish off your board, you can add some colored coconut. The link on how to do that is below. And for more Easter inspiration, visit wilton.com.